Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be. When you are tuning in to this broadcast, I am your international award winning author and filmmaker and empowerment specialist, Tennille M. Jackson. And I want to welcome you all to an all new segment called the Self Care Act. This is the show that's going to teach you all about loving yourself, loving others, and loving life. And so I am so excited to come on to talk to you all today. And so, whether you are watching from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, or even listening on the Wisdom app, I want for you to feel free to say hello, knowing that I appreciate your watching and I want to be able to say hello back. Also, feel free to like and share the video. Like and share the video. Hold on. Let's hopefully I am not getting stuck on Facebook. Hold on. Okay. Alrighty, y'all. Let me tell you, it's a whole thing when you are doing all of this stuff at the same time. Technology is a whole thing. So, in either case, like and share the video, and then finally feel free to tag somebody that you believe would benefit from this broadcast. So who would benefit from today's broadcast? um this is not a woman thing. This is, even though I'm wearing my shirt and you guys may not be able to see it, but my shirt is my I'm glad to be a woman shirt. On Instagram, I think you guys can see a little bit better. But anybody who you believe can benefit from self-care, right? And I say this all the time, that when I was coming up, self-care was not really a thing. Hold on one quick second. um I'll give me a quick second. But you guys keep on come on in. Come on in. Feel free to come on in. Feel free to come on in. Just trying to tag some folks. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Come on in. As you guys are coming on, please feel free to say hello. Let me know that you are tuned in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in the room. And we're gonna get talk. We're gonna start talking really quickly. Hey, Freddie, we're gonna start talking really quickly. So y'all just give me one quick second. Let me take a couple more folks, y'all, because I still have to remember how to get all of this done at the exact same time. Do all of this at the same time, because what I need to start doing is writing down who all I'm supposed to tag, so that way I can do that to begin with. Okay. All right. So let's get started for real, and for real. So again, be sure to say hello as Freddie did. Be sure to like and share the video. Tag somebody that you believe will benefit from today's broadcast. And again, this is not just a topic, even though we live in a world where you don't really hear about men taking care of themselves. That's not really a thing that's out loud. I think the impression is that a man's job is just to take care of his family. But guess what? The irony is that many women feel like that their job is to just take care of their families, right? So this is not gender specific. If you know anybody who needs to take better care of themselves, and maybe it's not just the fact that they are sickly, right? So it's not just for people who are suffering with a illness or disease, but people who are just always on the go, people who don't ever seem to take the time to take care of themselves. Tag those people to this show, okay? Because again, this show is going to be something that I do every week, but there'll be a different focus. So this week we're talking about, our topic is you matter, right? So that's today's topic is you matter. So this is about what it means to love on yourself. But then we're going to have, a week where we talk about what it means to love others, what that looks like. So others can be, that could be relational, so significant others, your children, and then loving life. So dealing with things like depression and, stress and all of that type of stuff. So that's what the Self Care Act is all about. And so I want to just kind of jump into it real quick. And as people come on, they come on. But one of the reasons why this topic resonated with me, I started discussing a little bit earlier, is the fact that when I grew up, self-care was not a thing, right? So I don't know if self-care has just recently become a thing, but self-care has not always been a thing. Like, I was not taught about, we didn't learn about self-care in school, whether you're talking about grammar school or high school. We were not taught about self-care in our homes. Like, I grew up in a two-parent family. I grew up knowing both of my grandmothers, and I could not look at my mother or my grandmother to know that self-care was supposed to be a thing, right? So in other words, I was not seeing my mother go to the beauty shop or the nail shop or to a retreat or resort. Very rarely did I ever even see my mother tell people no. My mother was always going, doing, being for others. And so, if, even though she may not have sat me down to say, this is what it means to be a functional adult or a responsible adult, like, you learn stuff. And I tell people all the time with life teaches you two things. It either teaches you what to do or what not to do. And so when you're around people that you value, that you admire, that you respect, then a lot of times, whether they sit you down and they say, hey, this is what you're supposed to do or not, a lot of times the way we learn certain lessons is simply by watching other people, right? Like, we look at what other people do, we look at how they handle situations, and that's kind of what teaches us what to do, for better or for worse. And so what I noticed is that, and I'm in my 40s, so I noticed that people my age and older, we all have, we're learning this whole concept of self-care. So like the millennial generation, those up under them, they're coming in with the whole mental health thing, right? Like, that's another thing that was not, it was taboo when we came up. You didn't say, I'm not feeling good. Like, it was a thing to, you were kind of ashamed to talk about whether or not life was life, and you were ashamed to talk about whether or not you were overwhelmed with the weight of the world. You didn't say that, because admitting that would be like admitting that you were weak, admitting that you couldn't handle it, admitting that these things were overtaking you. And so those were just things that you didn't do. Like, if life was life and you figured it out. Now, I know, at least with my children, the way that their schools are set up nowadays, you get 5 mental health days. I said, wait a minute, what? Like, that's an actual thing. Like, it's in their policies. So if they're overwhelmed, this is not considered, this is separate from the days out of school that they naturally have. And so if ever there is a non-attendance day, they can literally take a day just because they need to catch up with themselves mentally. And so all of this kind of combines to discuss, hey, Miss Rosie, to really kind of pull into play what it is that we're going to talk about today with you matter. A lot of times with life, and again, this is not gender specific, because the irony is that if you ask the average woman, she will probably tell you that she does not take time for herself because she's dealing with her family. So whether her family, she's still living with her parents, or she's their caregiver, she's a spouse, so she's taking care of her significant other, or she's a mom, she's taking care of her children. So she will pretty much say, like, I don't have time to take care of myself because I have to do for everybody else. But then there are a lot of guys that I know that if you ask them, do you tend to yourself? They'll say, well, I don't really have time to take care of myself because I'm steadily taking care of my family, right? And so even though the men may not be the ones, again, the ones that I talk to anyway, they may not be the stay at home parent. Like, there are so many men that they plunge themselves, they immerse themselves in their job. So they might work not just 40, but 50, 60, even 80 hours a week. Why? Because in their mind, hey, I need to do what I have to do to take care of my family. So whether it's a traditional home where he's the sole provider, and then the his wife or significant other remains at home to take care of the home, or even in this day and age, because of how expensive everything is, it may be a point where both people in the household have to work, but this man may immerse himself in his job because maybe he has a significant other, maybe he has children, they have bills, there are things that has to be taken care of. And so it's so, it is commonplace nowadays to get so caught up and so focused in all the stuff and the things of life, right? That you're doing all of these things. You're doing, going, being for everybody but yourself. You look up and you've had a nervous breakdown. You're stressed out somewhere because you're trying to figure out how to live everybody's life plus your own, right? So much so that you don't get a chance to actually get around to you because you're always trying to help somebody else. Everybody brings their problems to you. Everybody lays their stuff at your feet because you've proven to them that you're just so great and so dependable that they don't even try to actually take care of things on their own. They don't try to do it anymore because it's like, hey, I know Rosie can do it. I know Freddie can do it. I know Jim, James, John, and Paul can do it. So why do I need to do it? Right? Like, it's even times when you look at finances, a lot of times it used to be a point where people might will borrow money from you every here and again, but now it comes to the point where you've just become so reliable in a person's life that not just even once a month, but every week you have it where somebody might be trying to get something from you. Why? Because you've proven, hey, I'm the go-to person. And whereas I'm not saying that it's wrong or it's bad to be a reliable person. So please understand where I'm going with this. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that your family can depend on you, that your friends can look to you. I'm not saying that that's bad at all. But what I am saying is that you need to also be able to depend on you. You need to also be reliable for yourself, right? Like, so many times we spend so much of our energy, our time, our resources, our finances on everybody else that when it comes to us and to taking care of ourselves, it's just like, oh, never mind, maybe tomorrow. Because I'm so tired. I'm so, like, I've given everything that I have. So I done gave so much to you and to your stuff that by the time it comes to my stuff, I'm broke. I don't, and broke financially, broke mentally, broke spiritually. I done gave you everything that I have. And so today's message is, you matter. You deserve some of the time, some of the energy, some of the resources that you just freely give to everybody else. In this case, you need to be everybody else. You need to be able to be the person that people can go to, yes, but you need to be the person that you can go to for yourself too. Right. So, and I think a lot of times we don't think about that because, again, those who were raised, it was like, Gen Y is it? So, like, if you're in your 40s and beyond, then a lot of us was mistakenly taught, erroneously taught, that taking care of yourself is actually selfish, right? Like, okay, because I don't want to just be all focused on me all the time. I don't want to be perceived as arrogant or conceited. And let me tell you, like, you're neither. There is a balance. This is not a either or. There is a both and. You can both take care of others and take care of yourself. You can both see about others and see to yourself, right? And so at the end of the day, I always use this example. When you are on an airplane, first thing they say in, like when they're giving those instructions before you take off, they always say that if something happens in case of emergency, you have to grab that oxygen mask. What do they do? Who do they tell you to put the oxygen mask on first? And these are professional people. So even if you say, hey, Tennille, you ain't nobody, these are professionals that say in case of emergency, they're like, when you got to get that oxygen mask, don't put the oxygen mask on somebody else. See, many of us, we like, hey, well, I don't care if I kill over, I don't care if whatever happens to me, as long as, but what they're going to tell you is you put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Why? Because the best way to help others is to help yourself. The best way to be the best resource you can be for somebody else is first making sure you're good. Hey, Miss Rochelle, making sure that you are okay, right? Because a lot of times it's like, okay, you're saying that I want to do these great things. Um, a lot of times we will say, a lot of times you'll say you want to do these great things for your children, for your family, for your significant other, for whomever, but how are you going to help them if you're in the hospital somewhere? Again, ask me how I know this, y'all. This is why I keep telling you, a lot of the things that I do, a lot of things that I say, a lot of information I spread or I share is because at the time I may not have known it. And unfortunately, there are a lot of negative issues that affected me and that happened to me because I didn't know it, right? So once I am one who suffered, I have a severe stress disorder. I am a stroke survivor. Like I've had various things happen to me because I didn't know to start telling people no. I didn't know it's okay to put yourself first. I didn't know that you needed to be the best that you could be for yourself. Because if you don't do that for you, if you don't love you enough to do right by yourself. And when I say by yourself, I don't mean alone, that you don't take care of you. You got to get out of the mentality of, oh, well, me doing for me makes me selfish. No, it does not. It means if nothing else, it's like, hey, I want to be here for my family. I want to be able to take care of. So in order for me to be in that place to do that, then that means that I have to make sure that I am taking care of me the best way that I can. Because in order to be there for you, I got to be here for me, right? I was thinking about how absolutely. Rochelle says you cannot pour from an empty vessel. And I was thinking about how, like, my girls at this point, my girls are getting older. Y'all listen, next month, and not even a whole month away, we just a few weeks away. My second to oldest daughter is gonna be 19. So I say this all, where in the world? And for my parents who are old enough to have grown kids, like, do you ever ask yourself, when did you get old enough to be the parent of some grown folks? Like, it's one thing to be like somebody's mama or somebody's daddy, but then do you ever ask yourself, when did you get old enough to be the parent of somebody that's grown? Like somebody that's actually old enough to have their own kids? Because, like, Autumn just turned, my oldest daughter just turned 21. So that means that next year she's 22. I had her when I was 22. So, like, I'll be thinking to myself, and I don't know, maybe this is selfish or what, I don't know, maybe whatever it is, it is. But I'll be saying to myself, like, wait a minute. So this time next year, I could be somebody grandmama? Really? But that said to say that actually low key has been some motivation for me to do even better by myself, right? Like treating myself better because I know, okay, you got a couple health issues here, a couple medical issues there, but look, you want to be able to be here for your children. My mother died when she was 45. I was only 22 when my mother died. So it's like at the end of the day, I don't want to just because again, if you look at it, not saying that this is the only thing that I'm focusing on, but I'm less than 2 years away from being the age that my mother was when she passed away. And it's like, and I'm not saying that it was her choice that she chose to leave, but she still left me all the same at 22. And my thing is, I don't want to do that to my daughters. Like, I don't want them to be in that predicament. And so, I do bet, like, I'm doing the things, I'm a lot more proactive, taking care of myself more than I ever did, right? And I know this might blow somebody's mind, but saying no is one of the best things that I ever did to take care of myself, right? Like, a lot of y'all feel like, man, because I don't want to tell nobody no, because if I tell them no, then they not gonna like me or they gonna get mad at me. And again, I'm not saying tell everybody no all the time, but I'm saying sometimes you gotta learn how to sprinkle some no's in your vocabulary, right? Sometimes you gotta learn how to tell people, not today, I can't do it, not now, or just not ever. It's just a permanent no. No, period. Again, as an editor, I can tell you that no is a whole sentence. It don't need to be followed by a comma or a semicolon, although it can be, but it's also just as valid when you put a period behind it. Just no, period. It don't have to come with an explanation behind it. You don't got to tell them why. You don't have to give them an alternative day. It can just be no. Can you do that? No. And that's it. And now we can change subjects because I can't do it. And my point is, when I learned how to incorporate no into my vocabulary, and I don't talk about sporadic no, I'm not talking about an occasional vocabulary. I'm talking about, like, there are consistently just things that I'm not going to do because there are times that I need to be available, right? Not be available for somebody else, but I need to be available for myself. I've shared this before. One of my girlfriends once told me, sometimes nothing is only something that you should be doing. And I really took that to heart. And so I'm a calendar person. So there are many times when on my calendar, from this time to this time, it literally says nothing, do nothing. So that if somebody happens to call me and they say, well, what are you doing? Nothing. Well, can you? No, 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 no. No, I think you missed the point. No, that's what I'm doing from now until from 3 to 5 p.m. I'm doing nothing. That is what's on my calendar to do, is nothing. So that way, when you actually get me, now I'm a little more refreshed. Now I'm not as frazzled. Now I'm not stressed. I'm not running on fumes, but I feel better, right? Because I took that time, and I took that time. Why? Because I matter. I don't have to matter to you. I matter to me. And because I matter to me, then I'm going to make sure that I do the things that's necessary to keep myself in good health. See, a lot of times we're waiting for other people to value us enough to either stop asking the favors, to cut themselves off, or to treat us, to do for us, to be for us. And you're waiting and waiting and waiting. And while you're waiting, then you're steadily, kind of deteriorating. While you're waiting, your mental capacity is diminishing. While you're waiting, because what are you waiting for? Why is it that why does it have to take somebody else to value you enough for you to say, you know what, this is something that I deserve? So we're gonna kind of go toward the end, y'all, because I wanna wrap it up. Because again, every week this is the self-care segment. Every week I'm gonna come to you guys talking about loving yourself, loving others, and loving life. So one week I'm gonna be talking about loving yourself. One week I'm gonna be talking about loving others. So the others on one time will be your significant other. The second week it'll be like within your family. So whether it's your family holistically or your children. And then that last week, we're going to talk about love and life. So how that abstain from depression and stress and, some of all of these different issues that we encounter. But I don't want to just talk just for the sake of talking. I also want to give you guys like just a couple practical things that you can do, because I've been, a self-care advocate for a minute, and it always surprises me when I ask people, what comes to your mind when, oh, it's a couple questions I ask. Do you practice self-care? Yes or no? And the average person that says no, that they don't practice self-care, when I follow it up with why, their response is because it costs too much, because I don't have the money, because I don't have the time. Okay. So I want to just really quickly address the I don't have the money and I don't have the time. First of all, self care is not something that equates to being a millionaire. It's not just millionaires that can practice self care. You don't have to be rich to take care of yourself. Okay. So, just a couple things that you can do for free that will help you to practice self care. Because what self care is not, when I say taking care of yourself, I don't mean buying yourself things. This is not a materialistic act, right? Taking care of yourself, taking care of your mind, taking care of your body, your spirit, right? That's what we're talking about. So when I'm saying take care of yourself, you're trying to avoid stress at all costs, because life be life. Every time you turn around, it seems like no matter how much you work, it's never enough, right? Even for those who may be millionaires, people feel like that, because, and I'm gonna say it like this: most poor to middle class people are the ones who believe that rich people have no problems. Poor and middle class people are the ones who feel that money is all that you needed. If I had money, then I wouldn't have problems. Rich people will be the first ones to tell you the more money you have, the more problems that you have. And if money was the only thing you needed to have a wonderful life, then there are a lot of celebrities we know, a lot of millionaires we know who have unfortunately committed suicide. So obviously, it's not just money that equals the resolution or the solution that you need to the problem of self care. So it's not just financially, so, right? But taking care of you means making sure that your mental is good, right? Even the Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, but we really know we mean the mind, so is he. So whatever it is that you think on, that's what you're going to be applying yourself to. So you want to make sure, for my believers, I said like this: have a Philippians 4 and 8 mindset, meaning that all of those things that are good and pleasant don't mean you psyching yourself out, don't mean that life ain't really life and that the bad ain't really bad. But what it does mean is that you have the state of mind to say, you know what, I'm not going to allow myself to focus, worry, stress on those things that I have no power over. Instead, while life is life, and I'm going to actually think about those positive things. I'm going to think on the good times. I'm going to think on the things that's going to help to keep my mind focused and worry free. Okay. So that costs nothing to adapt that mentality, to say, I am committed to maintaining a positive mentality despite what may actually be happening. Now, you might say, well, Tennille, that's easier said than done. It's easier said than done if you're not actively practicing, right? This isn't something that you can just say, okay, well, I'm just going to think about the positive things. Then, boom, storm start blowing. And then you still thinking, no, you have to practice it. It's just like any other muscle in your body. You don't just get, muscular. You don't just get abs just because you thinking it. You have to, okay, so first I'm gonna think it, and then those thoughts should lead you to actually doing activities that's going to execute it. So if I'm trying to lose weight, yeah, it's great that I'm thinking about that. Hey, Miss Rosalind, it's great that I'm thinking about losing weight, right? Because if that's something that I need to do, then the first thing is to acknowledge or admit it. So it's good to think about losing weight. Great. However, if I don't ever go to a gym, start walking, change my diet, modify exercise, if I don't start actually putting in some realistic actions, then nothing will ever change. So it's the same thing here. The first thing you have to do, especially for those of you who are naturally negative Nancy's, if you naturally think negatively, if you are a pessimist, every time something go wrong, the glass is always half empty and you don't ever see it as half full. Like, so if that's you, it's already going to be a work just for you to convince yourself to say, you know what, I want to change my mind. I want to change the way that I see things. I'm not going to, because whether you know it or not, that's a choice. If the glass is half empty, guess what? It's also half full. What makes it be one versus the other is your perspective of it. So why is it that you're choosing to see it as half empty as opposed to half full? Only you can answer that, right? So you have to be able to first say, you know what, I am committing myself to having a positive state of mind. So again, whether you're a Christian, if you're a believer, hey Danielle, if you're a believer, then where you're going to is Philippians 4 and 8, and you can just kind of focus on those things, the things that's good and true and lovely and honest and just and pure and all of that stuff. Start making your lists of those things, like literally make your list of those things, because I think sometimes when life is life and we forget, we allow ourselves to forget all of the positive. When life is life and we allow ourselves to forget all of those things that actually bring us joy, right? And it's so easy to forget, and it's not necessarily intentionally, but again, as life is life, and then it's like what just happened that probably put a huge smile on your face now is pushed to the back because you just got a knock on the door. You know what I'm saying? So the point that I'm making is that it is a work. It's a conscious work, a conscious effort to think on the positive things, but it's a change of mindset. So that's number one, is change your mindset. Commit yourself to only focusing on the positive. Again, that does not mean that negative things are not happening. That does not mean if your house is on fire that you let it burn down because I'm just going to think about the positive. No, it means that if my house is burning, I'm not going to start stressing and worrying. But what I'm going to do is try to move to a solution. And in the event that the house does burn down, what am I going to do about it? What is worrying, hollering, be screaming, what is all of that going to actually, it's not going to rebuild the house. So I can use my good energy and try to focus on a solution as opposed to giving this energy to something that's not going to be solved by the negativity. Okay. So now in terms of actual things that you can do, so if you find yourself being overwhelmed by life, some of the things that you can do, that's free. You can go for a walk when life is overwhelming you. So I don't care if you're at work. I don't care if it's things going on in your house. I don't care if it's the bills that you're looking at. Like, it has been proven when you go for a walk, that helps to clear your head. It helps you to, so like you're getting, it's not even just about exercise, because I ain't saying you got to go power walking, but just being able to go outside, whether it's 15, 25, 30 minutes, even an hour, that is going to be a physical help for you, and it helps to calm you down mentally. It helps to bring you down, helps to eliminate that stress. So walking is always a good thing that you can do to take care of yourself. Now let's insert, if you are a person who is trying to lose weight, walking actually can be a great exercise for you. Like, there are a lot of studies that show what happens if you walk 10,000 steps a day, 20,000 steps a day, right? If you walk 45 minutes, an hour a day, like, walking can actually help you to lose weight. So walking helps you mentally, and again, depending the frequency with which you do it, it can also help you physically. And so another thing that you can do that costs absolutely nothing when you're trying to take care of yourself, take a hot bath or shower. Being able to like get all of that in helps you to release everything that you have, release it out. So these are things you can do. Put you on some candles, and again, this ain't about you trying to set an atmosphere for your relationship. Now again, on the other side of stuff, That is something that you can do to set a different type of tone and different type of atmosphere if that's what you're trying to do. But I'm talking about it could be 12 noon. Nobody is here. Put you on, turn every light off, even though it's bright outside. Who cares? That's not the point. Turn you on some candles, run you some hot water, and just allow yourself to just sit in quiet, right? Allow yourself to be at peace because that's literally what happened. Turn your phone off. Turn the phone off, y'all. You just going in the tub. So that means that, depending on how long you take your bath, you might only be in there between 15 to 30 minutes. You can be without your phone for 15 to 30 minutes. Purposely leave your phone outside of the bathroom, leave it in the bed, and you just sit there and you just relax. Allow no thoughts, no work, no bills, no kids, no significant other. Nothing is coming to your mind, but you are just sitting there and you are enjoying that relaxation. And again, it's a mental break. It's giving your mind a break. And so, like, we'll talk about mental detox and all that stuff on another day. But like I said, I really just wanted to give you guys just a couple tips of things that you could do so you can stop saying, and obviously there is more, but this is just the first week to this. And so, like I told you guys, this is kind of what we do, the Self Care Act. This is going to be the show that's going to teach you all about loving yourself, loving others, and loving life. So, what can you do to get the best version of you? And if you guys like what this is, please know, y'all always know it's a method to my madness, that we are going to start these self care seminars come the new year. I was looking to do them this year, but we had to modify some things. So, every second Saturday, we will be virtual as well as in person for those of you who live in Chicago or don't mind coming to Chicago. And come December, I will start putting the tickets on sale if you would like to reserve your slot for the Self Care Act. Again, these are all seminars with you in mind, things that's going to help you with practical tips, tools that you can use and implement. On the show, I'll give you some here and there, but obviously the seminars will be covering a lot more, and it might not just be me with these seminars. So, in either case, guys, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in as you always do. I know that it is going to take some time. It's going to take some time getting used to this whole all new at two format. I'm still getting used to it, but this for me, for my household, 2 o'clock is the best time, right? And so, again, whether you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and even on the Wisdom app, you guys will be able to tune in and you'll get an all new at 2. And matter of fact, that's going to be Monday through Fridays because as this is the thing, my name is Tennille, and I educate and empower personally, professionally, politically, socially, and spiritually. So on Mondays, we do personally, which is the Self Care Act. Again, the show that's going to teach you all about loving yourself, loving others, and loving life. On Tuesdays, it's aspects of entrepreneurship. So for those of you who've been following me, I've been doing aspects of entrepreneurship probably for about 6 years or so, six, maybe 7 years now. So that's nothing new. If you are an author, if you are an entrepreneur, and you are looking for effective tips on marketing and publishing and writing and networking, then you want to tune into aspects of entrepreneurship. On Wednesdays, it's not politics, it's principles. So that's really going to be the show that's teaching you all about the Green Party. I am the chairwoman for uh, the Cook County Green Party chapter. And so what I have learned is that a lot of people really have not heard about Green Party at all, much less what it is we stand for. The average person believes that the only options that you have politically are, the Greens and the Blues, so the Republicans and Democrats. But what my goal is to educate and empower you about what it means to be green. And that's what we do on Wednesday's show. And then socially, It's just inspirational talk. So whatever is going on, current affairs or what have you, it's inspirational talk on Thursdays. And then Friday, it is all about how to get in alignment with your assignment. So we're talking about how to find purpose, how to walk in it. And so, yeah, guys, it's all new at 2, Monday through Friday. So please set your notifications if you are not already following me. If you may know someone who needs to follow me, if there's a particular day that you want to be notified, let me know and I'll try my best to tag you. But I am all new at 2, so you can follow me and find me across all of these platforms at My Name is Tennille. It is important to note that if you are following me on Instagram, that on Tuesdays, I go live from my APS International page. And on Wednesdays, I go live from my Educated and Empowered page. So I know that that's a lot, but all of y'all who's following me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, y'all ain't got to do nothing different. It's gonna always be the same. Wisdom, you don't have to do anything different. But yeah, so that's what we're doing, guys. And I hope that you all are enjoying what you're hearing. And if you have enjoyed it, feel free to hit the share button, tag somebody that you believe needs to be part of this broadcast. But there are gonna be other things that I have beyond the broadcast. So if ever there's some things that you want more explanation on, more involvement with, then you can always feel free to reach out to me. But like I say, with the Self Care Act, there are going to be self care seminars, and those are coming January 2024. When we talk about aspects of entrepreneurship, there are going to be some courses that's coming. APS Academy is coming. So there is, it's just like I say, there are a lot of different things that we are working on. There's also a program that I'm putting in place that's called Building the Quintessential Self, that we pray that we're looking to drop also in January. So for everything that I teach on, I'm working on a program for it so we can drop all of those things to help you become the best you. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And if ever you guys want to know more about me, feel free to go to my website. My name is Tennille.com. So it's really easy, right? So across social media, you want to connect with me: Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Wisdom. You can find me at My Name is Tennille. You want to know more about me? Go to my website. My name is Tennille.com. Hey, Miss Kathy. But for all of you all who are just tuning in, please be kind and rewind. And whenever you watch this, again, like I say, I know there's going to take a little bit of time getting used to this all new at 2. So make sure that you have your notifications on. Let me know if there's a particular segment that you would like for me to tag you on. So that way, when I go live with that, I'll try to be sure to do that. But in general, section alarms all new at 2. And if you happen to miss me, just be kind and rewind and know that I appreciate that all the same. I appreciate that just like I appreciate you. But thank you guys so much for all things and everything. And again, if you liked what you heard and you want to show your support, you can cash at me to $. Guess what? My name is Tennille. So I try to keep it consistent. And if you want a Zelle, you can send a Zelle to TennilleJackson@yahoo.com. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Hey, Miss Jillian, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And until next time, you all stay inspired.